I thought I'd do a video on the best way to lock up your boosted rev scooter in the most secure manner. And I'm going to have some illustration pictures here as well showing that. The first thing is get a good lock. A lot of people like U-locks. I don't particularly like U-locks because if someone gets a big, huge crowbar in between the U-lock, they provide some leverage to actually pop those open. Also, a lot of U-locks are very easily pickable, so you have to really choose carefully with those. I prefer a covered chain lock, a good quality covered chain lock, and I will post links in the description field for some of the products that I'm talking about in this video. But the one I like is made by a German lock company called Abus, and they make really good locks. And a chain lock provides less leverage to get a tool in between to actually break it, because you put like a little tool in between there or a crowbar, and you can't get leverage to actually, enough force to actually break it. And then also a chain lock is a bit more versatile in terms of what you're locking it to, in terms of you being able to lock it to different size bike racks and bike locks and things like that, or posts and stuff like that. But the best way to lock up your boosted rev is to actually have two locks. The first one is to lock it near the front, in the main area shown here, where you would just lock it up to a bike rack. That's just the normal way of locking it. But what you want to do in order to prevent somebody from being able to access the controls or the screen in order to vandalize it or to turn it on, and run it in place and cause damage and things like that, you want to fold the boosted rev down, and then you want to put another lock, you want to loop that around this area here shown in this picture. And what that does is it prevents anyone from being able to lift it up to access the controls and the screen. And so then it's a lot more secure that way, because they can't access the controls and the screen, and it's just a lot harder for them to do any damage or to steal it. The other thing is that it looks a lot less conspicuous folded down also. Most people who aren't really looking won't even notice the scooter folded down. They'll just see it in passing and just walk right by. It's just not as conspicuous this way. I mean, certainly if a thief wants to get your boosted rev, and they have enough time, they may be able to do it, but with a really good lock and good methods, and also locking it up in a secure area with maybe an area where people can see it coming in and out of a cafe or store or something like that, you'll have much less chance of anything happening. Certainly you don't want to lock it up like overnight in an urban area. I wouldn't recommend that. And certainly you always want to try to lock it up in an area that's secure or an area that is safe. And ideally in an area where you can kind of keep an eye on it. Like if I go into a cafe or restaurant, I try to park it out front so I can actually see it while I'm in there, or a store. If possible, try to do that. But these are like the best practices for locking up your boosted rev scooter. Now you can lock it up unfolded, just in the unfolded state, but then, people again have access to the controls. Anyone walking by can power it on and, start messing with it. Also, the screen is exposed, whereas if it's folded down, the screen is actually protected. It's actually folded in, towards the back fender there. So the screen is actually inaccessible if it's folded down. And, you want to prevent people from unfolding it. So that's the most secure way of doing it. But certainly, just like a car, some kids could come by and deflate your tires. That's always a possibility. And, but generally, I think doing it this way kind of flies under the radar, and most people won't really notice it, especially if you're especially if you are locking it up in a, safe area. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to leave them. And I will see you in my next video.